Good afternoon, Joy. Thank you for that introduction. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat, sa ating lahat. Sana naging okay po ang ating lunch. Sana nabusog po tayo. At nagpapasalamat po ang Joy-Nostalg Foundation at ang mga kasapi namin for this opportunity to share our insights and our stories, reflecting upon the value of tenacity. So, our Group Executive Officer, Sir Jun Nang, has pointed out that tenacity is our choice to be firmly resolute with perseverance and precision, to have and hold our aspirations to achievements constantly. When we think about tenacity, we think of being persistent and determined. We think of tenacity as a positive indicator of character, because someone who has tenacity will achieve their goals despite any difficulties that may come their way. So, this afternoon, we ask ourselves, what can help us to raise our level of tenacity in our personal lives, but also as we do the work that we do with our teams? So, this afternoon, apart from sharing some points, I've also invited members of our team, of our Joy-Nostalg Foundation team, to share some stories about the work that we do, as well as some of the stories of our beneficiaries. Allow us to structure this afternoon's talk into 3 points, reflecting on what potentially helps enable tenacity in the lives that we lead. First, tenacity enabled by being grounded on our mission in life. Second, tenacity enabled by actively ensuring psychological safety for mutual learning and growth. And finally, tenacity enabled by constantly discerning and choosing what is better over what is good. So we begin with our first point by asking ourselves these basic questions. Have we articulated for ourselves our mission in life? Are we in touch with our personal vocation through which we can bring out our best selves? Are we aware, based on what we've gone through so far, of the particular mission that God calls us to during our short life here on earth? Ano kaya ang mission ko sa buhay ko through which I can do and live out the most good I can do for the world? Kung saan ang aking mga limits na challenge and kung saan ako'y pinaka maging masaya at malaya para gawin ng mabuti. We also reflect on our trajectory. Have I actively done my part to help myself figure out how I can better live out my mission? Have I made the effort to learn skills, engage with people, and look for opportunities that will help me live out my mission? Management guru Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, refers to the importance of beginning with the end in mind, underscoring the importance of focusing your time and energy on your mission in life. Now, to be fair, articulating our mission in life is not an automatic thing. And to be realistic, it takes time to get to know ourselves and our strengths, to have a better understanding of what our mission in life is. But take a moment now to just pause. And please indulge me here. Are you at this point in your life the person whom you want to be? Doing the things you've wanted to do? Let's be honest with ourselves. And maybe as we look at ourselves, we also look at those around us. Perhaps some people may be achieving successes or victories that might make them feel empty inside. Perhaps because these do not relate to where that person really desires to be. Or perhaps these have come at the expense of what is more important to that person. Sabi nga ni Covey, if your ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step you take gets you to the wrong place faster. Think about that for a moment. We cannot reflect on tenacity and lahat ng diskarte, focus at energy na gagamitin natin para sa tenacity na yan if it is not clear where we want to go with our lives. What kind of person do I want to be? What are the goals I am passionately pursuing? Kung hindi malinaw kung ano ka at para saan ka at kung saan ka patungo, baka madali ka lang mailipad sa kung saan-saan ang hangin ng buhay. O di kaya madali ka lang tibagin na anumang hamon na dala ng kapalaran. O baka madali ka lang malinlang ng mga mapagsamantalang puwersa. It is important to make a deliberate investment in articulating a vision of who you are and what you want in life. If we don't make the effort to define who and what we are, we allow external powers and circumstances to control us by default. Our deepest desires, our uniqueness as persons, should guide our moral and ethical compass and should point us in the direction of how we can live meaningful lives. Alam nyo, let's keep it real and practical. I invite you to extra challenge number 1, articulating your personal mission statement. There are so many templates for drafting mission statements that you can find online that you can do on your own. But for the next 4 minutes, let's do a fast break exercise and refresh our memories. To paraphrase Nescafe, para saan ka bumabangon? Para kanino ka bumabangon? Why do you do what you do? Now, on screen is one template that I'd like you to use right now. We will call on one of you at the end of this session to ask you to share your personal mission statement draft. Draft po to, huwag kayong mag-alala. Itong mga draft na to, hindi kailangan po maging perfect. Lahat po tayo, work in progress. Please do the exercise in the next 4 minutes. Again, the important thing is to just do it, even if it's not perfect. Improvement always comes after that. Let's do this. Thank you very much, Bello. for that time check. Thank you to everyone for working on your extra challenge. Okay lang kung hindi nyo siya natapos. Okay lang kung tuloy nyo siya pagkatapos ng ating mind session mamaya. I think it's just important that we get to articulate what you want to be and do. Or from time to time, go back to that mission in life that you've already articulated in the past. Returning to it, relishing it, rearticulating it in new ways, no? To reaffirm what will lead to your success. At the same time, as we've also seen in our work, it is equally important for organizations to define who they are by their mission and the impact they want to bring about in their communities and in the world. Joy-Nostalg Foundation has already mentioned in the past about an important task it had started since last year. That is, yung pag-articulate namin ng aming results framework. Partly, we have been doing this so that we can be at par with standards of legitimate development organizations, especially those recognized by international agencies. Itong pag-articulate po namin ng results framework, mahalagang bahagi din po sa aming application sa PCNC para sa PCNC accreditation na to. PCNC is an important local standard para sa mga NGOs dito sa Pilipinas, para sa mga foundations dito sa Pilipinas, lalo na mga development organizations. Kasi ang PCNC provides a seal of excellence and good housekeeping. Having submitted its application to PCNC for accreditation, JNF expects PCNC's review as early as September this year. Now, the results framework is also known as articulating our theory of change. The exercise has been to paint a clear picture of the outcomes that our work is supposed to bring about. More importantly, by putting to paper a clearer definition of who we are and what we are about, the impact we are pursuing becomes clearer. Mas nagiging malinaw. So dahil mas nagiging malinaw siya, mas nafo-focus kung ano mga kailangan namin gawin so that we can mobilize all the resources available to us to achieve those focused goals. Bilang isang team naman, this clarity helps unite us. Kumbaga, because it's more deliberate, this shared mission can also become a personal one for the members of the JNF team. At this point, we would like to share a story about one of our beneficiaries, who in his own way began with the end in mind. With clarity in what he wanted to achieve, he was able to creatively find solutions to reach his goal. Sharing with us this story, we have Alan Villa, our OIC for site-related matters and head of our community relations team. Hi, Alan. Good afternoon. Ready
Hello,
ka
sir.
na ba?
Good afternoon. Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Here we go.
Okay, thank you, Sir Terrence. As part of a team na palaging nasa ground, nakikipag-communicate dito sa ating mga beneficiaries, we come across stories that they share with us. And magugulat ka na lang, dumbfounded siguro, na maganda yung mga stories nila. So let me begin by saying that each of us has in one way or another come to a crossroads in our lives when we have to make sacrifices or think of ways to overcome our problems. But we remain committed to what we want to achieve in life. One of our Pasinaya beneficiaries has exemplified grit and determination to reach his goal of a better future for himself and his family. Si Kuya Ed, we can say, began with the end in mind. Decades before coming to Pasinaya, Kuya Ed has been exposed to the world of food, having worked in restaurants and eateries for many years. He upgraded his skills as a member of the kitchen staff and eventually discovered his love of cooking. Kuya Ed realized that was what he wanted and that his mission is to cook good food for people, and he was deeply passionate about it. He was so passionate and determined that he set up his own karinderya in Batangas. It was a thriving eatery. Patok na patok siya, dinadayo, at maraming pagkain na siniserve. Dumami rin ng dumami yung customers. But unfortunately, yung business niya nag-undergo ng mga problems. He had challenges due to pilferage, and soon he had to close the eatery and all the equipment were sold. Kuya Ed and his wife had to look for regular jobs, which opened doors for them to apply for home in from Pag-ibig, and through which they secured a house in Pasinaya 1. Not long after, he and his family moved to Pasinaya during the last quarter of 2018. With a new life, the future was brimming with excitement and new beginnings. Kuya Ed did not abandon his passion and mission. He immediately set his sights on establishing small eatery inside their home the following year, and offered budget meals with unlimited rice. They also offered lomi and pansit, which were all-time favorites in their eatery in Batangas and became instant hit in Pasinaya. But when the pandemic came in 2020, fewer and fewer residents were visiting their eatery. Kuya Ed learned that the people are concentrated along the main road where the flea market sprouted to adapt to the community quarantine imposed by authorities. Kuya Ed's income dropped significantly, and without any alternative means to earn, he was not only faced with losing the business, but also their house. Eventually, Kuya Ed had to let go of the house through the Pasalo scheme, transferring to a person who will continue with the payments of the house but will pay the former owner with an amount agreeable to both parties. So Kuya Ed used this amount he got from letting go of their house and rented a unit along the main road and established another eatery there. Guts, resilience, initiative, tenacity. Yun yung grit ni Kuya Ed. This decision bore sweet fruit as customers came in droves, enjoying what they have to offer, good food at a good price. Now, not only have they acquired the house they were renting to the same Pasalo scheme, yan po, we can see this in the slides, yung kanilang mga siniserve, they have also secured ownership of the adjacent unit. So yung katabing unit, nasa pag-aari na rin nila. Imagine that they have been able to secure another unit because of their success and focus on the mission. So, I invite you that the next time you are in Cavite, in Pasinaya, take a look at LJ's Lomi House and Eatery. Kuya Ed has already branched out to Pasinaya North and West via rented units as well. Ganun po kalakas yung kanyang business. Free rice, imagine that. Kuya Ed and his family also dream of acquiring a unit in Pagsibol, Asensa in the near future. Yan, so tignan po natin yung mga slides. Yan.
Thank you, Allen, no, for that very inspiring story about Kuya Ed and his family. Na tikman na ba ang pagkain dyan sa kanilang eatery, Allen?
Yes,
Masarap,
sir.
diba?
Lomi.
Anong paborito mo doon, Allen?
Lomi, sir, lomi.
Lomi. Sige. Next time we're there, let's eat lomi again there, ha?
Yes, sir.
So thank you, Allen, for that inspiring story about Kuya Ed and his family, no? Kuya Ed's personal passion in cooking became his mission of cooking good food. And he is able to do this at a good price that makes it accessible to his customers. It is this mission that has given focus to his efforts. So much so that even if there were setbacks, he did not give up and found ways to go back to his mission. And for that, we can see how Kuya Ed has not only learned from his mistakes in managing his business, he has actually grown the mission and is now cooking for more people in more neighborhoods. We can see how tenacity has been put into action by Kuya Ed. And we have seen how this has bore him much fruit. So salamat ulit kay Kuya Ed for inspiring us. So I'd like to invite us now to move to the second point and how tenacity can be enabled by ensuring psychological safety for mutual learning and growth. We open with some questions. What processes does my team have where mistakes can be freely discussed so that we can learn from them. How can I enable collaboration in the workplace that allows for mutual learning, growth, and development? Something to think about. Social psychologists have been able to enlighten us to the phenomenon of impression management. I'll say it again, impression management, which is a process where we attempt to influence the perceptions of other people about a person, object, or event by controlling information in social interactions. One way that we put impression management into practice is how we direct it at others so that we are seen in a particular way. More specifically, scientific evidence shows us that as early as grade school, we learn to socially project ourselves so that others perceive us in an acceptable or even desirable way. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? What do social psychologists tell us, especially as we enter the workplace as adults? Sabi ng mga social psychologists, it's very possible that because of this mindset, we enter the workplace thinking this way. If you don't want to look ignorant, then huwag kang magtanong ng questions. You don't want to look incompetent or parang walang alam, then don't admit your weaknesses or mistakes. Ayaw mong magmukhang pakailamero, then don't offer ideas. Ayaw mong magmukhang nega, by all means, don't question or criticize the status quo. Si Amy Edmondson, a professor of leadership at the Harvard Business School, has studied this pattern in our behavior, especially in workplaces, and looks at the impact of this behavior when we work as teams. Tinatanong niya, bakit mahalagang tingnan ang behavior na to? Why does it matter that these patterns of behavior can be present when we work with others? Sabi niya, it matters because every one of these moments, every time we withhold, we rob ourselves and our colleagues small amounts, small moments of learning. And because of that, we don't innovate. We don't come up with new ideas. We are so busy unconsciously, for the most part, managing impressions that we don't contribute to creating a better organization. Something to think about, diba? What Amy Edmondson is saying. Pero dagdag niya, sabi niya, the good news is that not every workplace is in fact this way. There are some workplaces where people absolutely wake up in the morning, if not eager, at least willing and ready to take the interpersonal risks of learning. Sabi ni Amy Edmondson, I call these special workplaces ones that have psychological safety. Let's try to understand this concept a little better. Psychological safety is the belief that you won't be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. It is a shared belief held by members of a team that others in the team will not embarrass, reject, or punish you for speaking up. Psychological safety can also be defined as a shared belief that the team is safe for interpersonal risk-taking. In psychologically safe teams, team members feel accepted and respected. Kahit anumang organisasyon yan, in any organization, there will always be a tendency towards blaming others, being afraid to admit mistakes, or sticking to individual silos. Psychological safety challenges the culture of the organization towards practices that will lead to comfort in making mistakes, learning from failure, and openly sharing ideas and better decision making. Psychological safety underscores that others in my team will give me the benefit of the doubt. Dahil doon, I can feel safe to speak up and take risks. We talk about psychological safety in the context of our discussion on tenacity for the simple reason that our determination and perseverance towards our goals is never a one-person job. Hindi po tayo nagsa-solo flight, hindi po ba? We are not just determined and persevering by ourselves or on our own. We always work with others and strive to be persevering together with them. And for a team to be able to push forward with greater determination and perseverance, each member of the team must be able to feel safe and secure enough to take interpersonal risks that will, one, reinforce learning from mistakes, two, reinforce spaces for new ideas, three, reinforce asking for help, and four, reinforce pursuing innovations together. These ultimately lead to everyone in the team actively contributing to winning together. We move forward with our extra challenge number 2, enabling behaviors that raise psychological safety. For the next 3 minutes, I would like to ask everyone to participate in a simple exercise with your own paper and pen or laptop and monitor and keyboard. We recognize that the work to enable greater psychological safety in a large organization takes deliberate strategy and effort. Without intending to shortcut that process, our simple exercise right now recognizes na bawat isa po sa atin dito ay leader ng JNG. Each one of us here, regardless of rank or experience, is a leader in JNG. Whether you are a big leader or a small leader in your team, whether you have 100 people reporting under you or just one partner in your unit, you are a leader. Ikaw po ay isang leader ng JNG. So bilang isang leader ng JNG, ano po ang mga maliliit na behavior na pwede niyong gawin sa iyong team so that you can raise levels of psychological safety? Again, what small behaviors can I do with my team so that my teammates feel safe? And in feeling safe, we can talk about our mistakes openly, we can share our ideas, we can ask for help, and we can innovate together. You can draw from the lessons you've learned the last few minutes that I've discussed, and you can jot these ideas down on the small behaviors you can put into practice with your team para tumaas ang psychological safety. At the end of our session later, we will call on one or a few of you to share. So Jello, once again, some engaging music. 3 minutes, let's do this exercise. Thank you. Thank you for the time check, Jello. I'd like to invite Bats Perez now to share a bit of his experience of psychological safety in relation to his work of running the help seminar with the beneficiaries and its relevance to tenacity. Bats, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right,
Yes, po.
take it away.
All right, sir. Good afternoon, JNG. Having heard a while ago what psychological safety is, one can assume that it might not only be intended within the workplace. However, as much as it resonates with us being in the workplace, psychological safety may also be practiced elsewhere and in any setting that involves communication amongst people, such as in a classroom or even in our own household. Sa ating mga bahay, pwede nating i-practice ang psychological safety. And as discussed, psychological safety as a practice should be expressed to help co-create an environment that promotes ease of communication instead of apathy and anxiety. We at JNF streamline our efforts with the recipients of the different programs that we deliver so that each person feels involved and valued. These things matter in driving our beneficiaries to actively engage and contribute to learning opportunities. To provide an example, I want to relate how we conducted our help seminars during the times before the pandemic, when we used to face hundreds, yes, daan-daan pong mga individual sa bawat linggo na dumadaan. And for someone like me who has facilitated the seminar many, many times, I have seen the patterns of behaviors and body language of our beneficiary attendees, as well as the way they assert themselves during the help seminars. Like for example, nakayuko lang ba siya? Nagsusulat lang? Tumitingin ba talaga siya sa harap at may eye contact and so forth? Those things actually matter. Through different behavioral cues, there's this sort of pakiramdam that you develop along the way where you can assess an individual's confidence to put forward his thoughts. And sometimes you also get a sense of how much he is willing to understand based on the quality of questions he or she raises. But down the line, what's important is that our attendees provide reactions to what is presented to them. To me, the challenge as a facilitator is to create an open environment of honesty, an attribute critical to psychological safety, to make our recipients unafraid to speak up, and in the process, are able to have productive and meaningful discussions. One thing I've observed among our attendees that is an obvious hindrance or stumbling block to an open environment of honesty is the toxic mindset na kadalasan na takot akong magkamali so ayaw ko na lang magbigay ng opinyon o magtanong o magparamdam. Pipiliin ko na lang just to be there for the purpose of being there or just being present. Pero I'll keep my mouth shut, I'll keep my head down, and as a facilitator of the help seminar, we know that this is actually counterproductive. Bilang tagapagpaagos ng diskusyon, it is imperative that I appear trustworthy. More than that, I should be able to help the attendees gain new knowledge and information, but also help ignite them towards life changes they can embrace. So, what are some strategies that I have used that are helpful? First, it is important to help our attendees feel that they are attending a learning session and that they are not being assessed for what they know. Kaya nga sila nandito na uma-attend ng help seminar because gusto nilang matuto. Therefore, they should fire away and ask their questions para matuto sila. Kung hindi sila magtatanong, paano sila matututo? As simple as that. Second, mahalaga to try to keep things simple para you're all on the level. Ikaw bilang facilitator at yung iyong mga participants are on the same page. Para ang lahat magkaroon ng confidence na mag-participate, walang mali-left out, and not be intimidated to speak up. Yung vibe na gusto mong mapa-feel is that your attendees are in an inclusive space. We try our best to use language that is accessible. You take people at the language where they are and try to help elevate discussions together. Third, Actually, magandang iparealize sa mga attendees that their questions and comments are most likely also the questions and comments of others. Therefore, pwede nilang isipin that by asking their questions and raising their inputs, they are not just helping themselves, but they are also helping others as well. In short, they get to co-create in knowledge sharing. Big deal yun, that they are able to help fellow attendees like themselves simply by participating and asking questions and sharing comments. My hope is that we can sustain a virtuous cycle with our beneficiaries. Uulitin ko po, a virtuous cycle with our beneficiaries. Embedded within is tenacity. A successful help seminar is not merely having our beneficiaries complete the seminar with knowledge about the value of owning their own home. No, hindi po. More importantly, the learning is meant to empower them with greater confidence and bigger ambitions to make the change they want in their lives and in their families. By having a seminar, by having a seminar environment that enables more of asking questions and sharing of concerns from the attendees, we are hoping this contributes to the mindset that our beneficiaries can take a more active role in shaping their own future. Sir Terrence?
Maraming salamat, Bats, sa sharing mo, no? I think mahalaga yon. We are learning that having seminar spaces that engage our beneficiaries more and help encourage more questions and more sharing actually helps encourage psychological safety. This way, our beneficiaries take greater accountability for their choices. And in the process, we help nurture tenacity among them as well. So thank you. So far, we've done 2 points already. I'd like to enter into our last point by reflecting on these questions. In my life, both personal and professional, do I actively witness to God in the choices I make? Do my life choices give God greater glory? Do I aspire to be more loving, more charitable, more free to serve? Now, 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the feast day of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Society of Jesus, whose spirituality is familiar to us here in JNG. Ignatian spirituality has sometimes been described as the schooling of the heart and also a spirituality of decision making. When you think about it, yung puso, the heart, needs to be schooled so that good decisions can be made. When we talk about Ignatius and the spirituality of decision making, we are not just referring to a choice between what is good and what is evil. That should be clear from the start. We always say no to lies and hypocrisy. We always say no to corruption, bribery, and theft. We always say no to other ways by which evil presents itself to us as an alternative, when in fact we should turn away from it lagi, all the time. So let us be clear. Between good and evil, we know in our heads that we are always to do what is morally right, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's not easy, even when the world tells us to compromise our integrity. Anyhow, para kay San Ignacio, hindi po yung pagpili sa tama at mali. Rather, it is a choice between what is better over what is good. By focusing on what is better, Ignatius invites us to focus not just on the possibility, but the reality that whatever situation we may be in, God is always inviting us to something more and to respond more lovingly. Ignatius captures this more in the word magis. Magis is sometimes translated as doing more, but the appropriate translation is actually the pursuit of greater love and greater service. It is not doing more for the sake of doing more. Rather, about doing what is more loving, anong mas mapagmahal, what is more generous, anong mas bukas palad. In discussing the value of tenacity, we are invited to focus our persistence on what will enable us to be more loving, more generous, more able to follow Christ and His mission for us. Yan yung better na pinag-uusapan natin. We go back to what we said earlier. Actually, Ignatius invites us to focus not just on the possibility, but the reality. Na kahit anumang sitwasyon tayo naroon, God always invites us to respond better by responding more lovingly and more generously. Actually, Ignatius invites us to look at our context. That's the key word, context. Ano yung mga reality ng buhay natin ngayon? Mga totoong tao, mga totoong relationships na meron tayo. The real problems and opportunities we are experiencing at work or in our family or in our community or even in the country. And all manner of real experiences we face each day. Amidst all of these, Ignatius invites us to be still, to be quiet, to listen to our feelings. Ignatius invites us to be sensitive to the movements inside us sa paggalaw ng Panginoon sa ating mga puso, sa pag-udyok niya. The stirrings that He places inside our hearts about the real things that are happening in our lives. Maybe, just maybe, God is moving your heart to pay attention to a family member who needs more love right now so that there can be more healing in the family. Maybe, just maybe, God is moving your heart to pay better attention to a responsibility that requires more generosity dahil ang laki ng impact nito sa buhay ng ibang tao. Maybe, just maybe, God is directing your heart to look at an injustice that's happening right now that you can see so that you can find a better solution kaysa sa yung band-aid na nilagay doon ngayon. Maybe, just maybe, God is stirring your heart dahil sa pandemic na to. May isang co-worker, isang kapitbahay, o baka even a stranger na nangangailangan ng suporta mo just to get through these next 2 weeks of lockdown. And you are in a better position to be more generous. Ignatius asks us to keep it real when we talk about the MAGIS. And in so doing, it is these specific choices that we make each day that allow us to witness to God. By choosing better, that is, by choosing what is more loving and generous, we give greater glory to God through concrete people and concrete situations. One way Ignatius was able to capture this can be found in his spiritual exercises. In number 53 of the exercises, he invites us to imagine Jesus on the cross. We imagine ourselves in front of the cross, kinakausap ang Panginoon, asking the Lord, paano ba nangyari na ikaw isa sa nagmamahal sa akin Panginoon, binaba mo yung sarili para mamatay para sa amin, para sa aming mga kasalanan, and in the process save us. And in that conversation with Jesus, Ignatius invites the person in front of the cross to reflect, ano na ba ang nagawa ko para sa Panginoon? Anong ginagawa ko ngayon para sa Panginoon? Ano ang dapat ko pang gawin para sa Panginoon? As I behold Christ nailed to the cross, I reflect upon what presents itself to my mind. And so that leads us to extra challenge number 3. For the next 3 minutes, consider your context now. In the different areas of your life, sa mga totoong nangyayari sa buhay mo, whether it be in your family, at work, in your community, or whatever part of your life it may be, are you feeling the Spirit moving you to respond more lovingly, more generously, more charitably? Or maybe, if you are moved to, you can use the same questions that Ignatius proposes himself and answer these sincerely amidst the context of your life. What have I done for Christ? What am I doing for Christ? What should I do for Christ? Again, for the next 3 minutes, I invite you to write down your reflections and return to them in your own personal time after today's Culture Day. Perhaps God is there inviting you to something more that can help focus your determination, your perseverance, and your tenacity. Jello, some music, please. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. The next story is brought to us by Lyra Chan. However, Lyra cannot join us today. We've invited Jam Gamboa to help us out and share Lyra's story about how the call to MAGIS has been concretized in the communities we serve and provide a concrete way by which tenacity is able to bear fruit. Jam, magandang hapon. Nandyan ka ba?
Yes po, sir. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po sa ating lahat. So, allow me po to share yung story po brought to us by Miss Lyra Chan. So, ngayong nagkaroon ng pandemic sa buong mundo, marami ang nawalan ng trabaho at walang pangtustos o pangtawid sa araw-araw. Ngunit sa panahong din na ito, umusbong ang bayanihan, pagtutulungan, at pagdadamayan ng bawat tao sa komunidad. Isa sa mga magandang halimbawa ng pagkakaroon ng tenacity ay ang pagpili na magbigay ng higit na pagmamahal, pagtutulungan, pagdadamayan, pakikisimpatya at serbisyo sa komunidad na ating kinabibilangan. Kaya naman po mapapakinggan natin on how our community members share their love sa kanilang community o sa kanilang kapitbahay. Sinimulan ng isang grupo ng mga kababaihan sa Pasinaya ang Pasinaya Feeding Program, which provide fees to families who are having a hard time to make ends meet for the day or do not have ulam o pagkain for the day. Marami ang nahikayat na makiisa sa layunin ng grupo at ang Pasinaya Feeding Program ay nakatanggap ng suporta sa mga residente at iba't ibang grupo sa Pasinaya. Sa isang bakanteng bahay ng isa sa mga miyembro ay sila'y nagtulong-tulong sa mga gawain. May mga naghihiwa ng gulay, nagluluto, at meron din namang namamahagi sa mga bahay-bahay. Ang grupo din nila ay naglikom ng donasyon galing sa mga residente na nakakataba ng puso na kusang loob na nag-aabot ng tulong. Now let's hear how Ate Sande Bahinting feels habang siya ay tumutulong sa kanyang kapwa o sa kanyang community. Sobrang saya sa puso ko dahil sa simpleng gawa ko o pagluluto, sa bawat pagkain ay maiibsan ang pangangailangan ng taong walang trabaho noong nag-uumpisa pa lang ang lockdown. Ang layunin po namin ay makatulong sa mga taong nangangailangan at lalo sa mga batang di matitiis ang gutom. Ang naging pakiramdam ko na nakasama ako sa feeding program ay happy and proud. Ang naging reaksyon naman ng mga tao, yung bawat nabibigyan namin ng pagkain, laking pasasalamat at masaya dahil nandito pa rin kami kahit mahirap ang kalagayan namin noon dahil sa virus. Importante, lalo na sa grupo, is nagkaisa kami sa aming layunin na makatulong sa kapwa namin. Pray lang at magtiwala sa may kapal. Ipinagpatuloy ng grupo ang kanilang layunin at misyon, hindi lamang sa Pasinaya Home Central. Sila ay nagpaabot rin ng tulong at naglingkod sa ibang community. Mayroon na silang chapter at mga miyembro sa ibang community kagaya ng Pasinaya Homes North, Pasinaya Homes North 2, Pasinaya Homes West at magkakaroon pa sa Pagsibol para ipagpatuloy ang kanilang nasimulan. Bukod sa mga grupo ng kababaihan, nariyan din ang tanim who share their love at piniling mamahagi ng kanilang crops and gulay na kanilang tanim para sa feeding program. At ang ilan naman dito ay ibinahagi ng mga leaders and volunteers sa mga pamilyang kapos ngayong pandemic. Noong time na yon, nakakaiyak kasi nakikita namin ang paghihirap ng mga tao sa food kasi wala na talagang pagkukunan ng mga tao ng pagkain. Kahit na isang kain lang ang naiambag namin sa kanilang pagkain ng tanghalian, malaking pasasalamat na ng mga taong aming natutulungan kasi nakakaraos ang kanilang pananghalian ng libre. Maraming nagpapasalamat sa aming grupo. This is another statement coming from Ate Eleanor Tori, proving on how these simple acts from them can touch the heart of others. Hindi rin nagdalawang isip ang mga residente at community leaders na makilahok ng ang community sa pagkakaroon ng community parties where everyone follows the basic rules of giving according to what you can afford and taking only what you need to feed a family for a day or two. The people behind these initiatives exemplify having greater love and greater service to the community when a certain crisis or problem arises. Ang mga grupo at mga volunteers na ito ay may kanya-kanyang pamilya, trabaho at pinagkakaabalahan. Ngunit sila ay nakapagbigay pa rin ng kanilang oras at lakas para higit pang makapagbigay ng serbisyo at higit na makatulong sa kanilang kapitbahayan at komunidad.
Maraming salamat, Jam. Thank you for helping us share Lyra's story. Thank you, Jam. The message is clear. Malaking tulong ang naibahagi ng mga kababaihan ng Pasinayawan Central. They were able to provide a lot of assistance to help those who are hungry in their community. When you think about it, really, when you think about it, malaking bagay na yun. Napakain mo na ang mga nagugutom mong kapitbahay at ang kanilang mga anak. When you really think about it, okay na yun eh. Natulungan na nila ang mga nangangailangan. Pero higit pa doon, meron pang ibang nagugutom sa ibang komunidad, mga pamilya, mga bata. Para sa mga kababaihan na ito, naintindihan nila na kahit kailangan pa nila magsakripisyo, they will extend themselves and serve other communities beyond their own so that they can make sure others also do not go hungry. Greater love, greater service, for the greater glory of God. We can learn much from them. The team and I would like to thank the JNG community for providing JNF an opportunity to share our reflections on tenacity during the Mind session this afternoon. Previous slide, please. To summarize, tenacity challenges us to be determined and persevering in the pursuit of our goals. To this end, what enables tenacity? We shared that it is important to be clear, or at least have an understanding of your mission, whether for your own life or for the team or organization you work with, so that your determination and perseverance is focused on target. We also shared that psychological safety and creating spaces where my team and I can be more comfortable speaking up and taking more interpersonal risks can lead to greater learning and productivity, which also allows us to be more determined and persevering together. After all, we learn together, we work together, and we win together. Finally, tenacity is also enabled by pursuing the MAGIS of choosing that which will bring about greater love and service. We keep it real, and amidst the real relationships, real concerns, and our context, we find concrete invitations to love more and serve better. So in behalf of the whole JNF team, maraming salamat po. Thank you very much. We hope that the inputs and exercises shared today are helpful to all of you and to our bigger JNG family. Magandang hapon po.
Maraming salamat, Sir Terrence. Those were really good challenges, sir, ha? Kahit ako mismo napaisip, ano bang goal ko? I even write notes here. Meron akong paper, hindi lang makita. Pero I was able to write a couple of notes to, kumbaga, help me to redirect myself kung ano ba talaga yung goal ko. Ano ba yung talagang kailangan kong gawin to serve people. And I agree with what you said, sir, to love more and to serve better. Again, thank you, Sir Terrence, Sir Allen, Sir Bats, and Miss Jam for sharing and for that insightful talk about tenacity. That was truly an inspiring message that was truly a beautiful message to inspire the whole JNG community. And of course, sir, please extend our congratulations to our beneficiaries and to Kuya Ed and his family. Thank you, sir. And now, to facilitate our next segment, may I invite our Organization Development Officer, Mr. Jello Pohol.
Thanks, Kate. And thank you also, Sir Terrence and team, for the very meaningful Mind session. Truly, we all learned a lot from you. In your Mind session, we had three exercises. One on mission, one on what we can do to further psychological safety where we are, and what have we done, what are we doing, and what ought we do for Christ. And I guess to help us share our insights and reflections, we have with us three panelists who will join us. The first I'd like to call is Miss Kathleen Tolentino. She is the Information Application Officer from the RMU. Hi, Miss Kathleen. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello.
So, Miss Kathleen, I hope that a while ago we showed a slide on our own personal statement, and I was wondering if maybe you'd like to share with us your insights and reflections on that exercise.
So, based po dun kay Sir Terrence, of course, sa life ko ngayon, siguro currently mindset ko ngayon, yung gusto ko accomplish for now is yung marriage and family harmony. Of course, before yung marriage is yung financial stability ko. Then, of course, before ng financial stability, of course, yung career passion ko, and of course, before yung marriage and family harmony, financial stability, career passion is of course yung personal satisfaction. Ayun, sir. Ayun. So, of course, before sa marriage and family harmony, of course, gusto ko din ma-accomplish yung service and social responsibility ko para sa community. Ayun. So, I think yung action ko para dito is of course yung pagiging yung sa personal satisfaction before ko ma-accomplish yung mga yung marriage and family harmony, yung financial stability, yung career passion, of course yung personal satisfaction. If kapag may personal satisfaction ka po is ibig sabihin determined kang gawin, 'di ba po? Parang ganun. So, ayun.
Wow, it looks like you're really thinking long term, na? Settling down na. Wow. So it's clear, once you define your mission, your end goal, we have the tendency to do everything we can to reach that, diba? Once it's clear. And in
Yes,
your
sir.
case, it's being more stable, being able to provide for your family. Sir Terrence, what do you think?
Well, thank you for inviting me to comment. No, I think all of us, as I mentioned earlier, are called to contribute some greater good in the world. I think all of us are called by God to some mission, and it takes us time to discover it. But as much as we discover ourselves, I hope we also, in our own little way, find ways to define how we can reach that goal. What are the skills, the relationships I need to put into play? So that I can contribute to the world, make it a more beautiful place, more loving place, no? A place where there is really a greater service to God, no, in the life that I lead. So hopefully we can all find what our mission is in life. And I guess bring it back to the theme of tenacity. If it's clear how we're called to serve the world and serve God in the world, it becomes also clearer what we need to do to get there. And so the image a while ago, one of the slides was you had like a blueprint of a house. It's good to take note. What is that design that you're called to put down in writing so that you can really pursue it in real life? So thank you.
Thank you, Sir Terrence, and thank you, Miss Kathleen, for your insights. Thank you. And sir, a while ago, you went on to talk about psychological safety, why it's important to how in us achieving tenacity or reflecting tenacity in the workplace. No? And so there are many ways to further this objective of having psychological safety in the workplace. And I'd like to call our second panelist to share what she thinks can be done or what is being done in her particular team. So let's call on Miss Zarina Luan. She is the Construction Logistic Assistant from the CDU. Hi, Zarina. Good afternoon.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay. So, Ms. Zarina, what are your thoughts on that? How is psychological safety being done in the workplace?
Wait lang, sir. Psychological safety, sir, for me is para ma-achieve siya is maging open lahat ng members ng department sa isa't isa para mai-brought up and ma-discuss lahat yung nagiging problem sa workplace and para masolusyonan siya diplomatically na hindi kailangan na magkaroon ng away within our co-employees.
Thank you, Ms. Zarina. I think it all boils down to being open, diba?
Yes,
Being
sir.
open to communication. At the same time, being sincere, diba? We must, if we have something in mind, then we know it's something that can help the organization grow and expand and develop. By all means, we must share it. And all of us must be open to ideas, feedback, even criticism. No?
Yes.
So I think if we have it in place, people can speak out more, we can learn from one another more, and we can grow even faster. No? Thank you, Ms. Zarina. I hope I got that right, Sir Terrence.
Well, psychological safety is always like a target for any team, right? So, by quoting Amy Edmondson and her studies over the years, we're hoping that there becomes this template that organizations and teams can follow. Hindi naman po siya one size fits all. I think each team is invited to figure out what works for them. But the idea is precisely what Amy Edmondson said a while ago, that we are able to do so in a way that there is greater interpersonal risk taking, that we're able to share even if we don't know something, we're able to share even if we make mistakes, we're able to share even if it makes us look like we don't know everything, or we make mistakes, or we're fallible. And the idea that if we can trust each other and we can give each other the benefit of the doubt, we can potentially innovate more together. And as I said, it ties back to tenacity because we work together and persevere never on our own. We always work with a team. And the more integrated a team works together, the more we can succeed together as well. So hopefully Amy Edmondson's research on psychological safety could be something that's useful for us as well. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Sir Terrence. And last but not least, you also spoke about MAGIS. Not simply doing more of anything, not simply carrying more weight or more load, but doing more for other people. Always integrating the welfare and benefit of other people in every decision we make, choosing to do what's better than just simply good. And so, with our last panelist, we call on Ms. Yvonne Ledesma. She is the Treasury Management Head from the HDU. No? And so, Ms. Yvonne, good afternoon. A while ago, we spoke about MAGIS and made ourselves reflect. No? What have we done for Christ? What are we doing right now for Him? And what ought we do for Christ? No? So maybe you could share with us your thoughts, your reflections from that exercise.
Good afternoon, JNG. What I've learned from what Sir Terrence talk about is we should practice tenacity in everything that we do. And as of the moment, we all experience the difficulty brought about by this pandemic. And in these tough times of our lives, we may become resilient in what is happening and what to happen. We must be thankful of what we have, the family, our life, no sickness, and work. It is also our opportunity to spend more time with our families and loved ones, and realizing that every single moment is precious and memorable. That's somehow this pandemic gives everyone a chance to become attached and closer. This time of uncertainty, it is important to help and support one another, being present for others, sharing material things in any way we can, and place ourselves in the service of others. As St. Francis says, it is in giving that we receive. It is not how much we give. the important is that we give. Ayun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yvonne, for reminding us that even in this difficult time, no, we must not simply think about ourselves, although that's so easy to do when we feel frightened, diba? We must always involve others in the equation. No? And that's
Yes
what we
po.
mean by thinking of others while doing our work. We just don't do our best in what we do, but we always think, how can I serve others? How can I glorify the Lord with my tasks for the day, even? And so, Sir Terrence, before we end the mind session, uh, from your talk, I learned about the value of knowing your goals, being sure of your clearing your mission. I learned about being open-minded, being humble, and also being brave to speak up. I also learned about MAGIS, choosing to do more for others and for God, no. And looking at the workforce right now, majority of Joy-Nostalg, majority of us are millennials or even younger. Ang daming bata in their 20s and 30s in the organization. And research says the young people, they are more outspoken, they speak their minds more, and at the same time, it's important for them to find value and purpose in their work and in what they do. So, sir, tying this with your talk and the value of tenacity, what advice would you like to give the young up-and-coming leaders in Joy-Nostalg?
Thank you for that question, which I did not expect. No, I thought I was done speaking. No, after JNF has been speaking for the last hour, but I think it would be very trite or very simplistic for me to simply tell people, look for your passion. I think that might be too simplistic. Lahat naman tayo ay may gustong marating sa buhay. But I think maybe it's an invitation, as you said, Jello, no, to the up and coming leaders, to those who are young or young at heart, you know, uh, to find how their passions intersect with the deep hungers of the world, how your passions intersect with the needs of the world and the problems of the world that need solution. Our J&G family is a concrete testament to that, no? I think we've heard Sir June talk about how our different companies in J&G are serving these gaps experienced by many of our countrymen. But at the personal individual level, I think for all of us, it's to personally look for how my deepest desires interact with the deep hungers, the deep needs, and the big problems of the world that need solving. I think that somehow allows us to focus ourselves along with other people so that we can really contribute in making a difference, not just in our lives, no, but in the lives of others who need us more. So I hope that's okay for now, Jello.
Yes, sir. Very much okay. So once again, thank you, Sir Terrence. Thank you to the JNF team for speaking and sharing, these very important stories and insights. Also to our panelists, Miss Kathleen, Miss Zarina, and Miss Yvonne for being with us this morning. And so, Sir Terrence, we'd like to present to you this electronic certificate of appreciation. So let me read it as you show it on screen. All right. So, the certificate of appreciation is hereby awarded to Mr. Terrence Ang as our joyful tribute and appreciation for sharing your presence and expertise with us and for sparking light, hope, and love in our Joy-Nostalg Culture Day Mind Session. May you always continue to be the light that sparkles and shines ever so bright, creating moments of happiness and memories of hope for others. Spark Joy More Ever, awarded this 12th day of our Lord, 12th day of August in the year of our Lord 2021. Signed, Ms. Jocelyn Labrador, CEO of the Resource Management Unit, and Mr. Jacinto Nang Jr., Group Executive Officer of the Joy-Nostalg Group.
Jello, I'd like to take this opportunity, that this certificate of appreciation doesn't
sir.
just go to me, it actually
Yes.
goes to the whole Joy-Nostalg Foundation team. And I'd like to recognize in particular Alan Villa, Bats Perez, Lyra Chan, and Jam Gumboa, who share this certificate of appreciation with me. So thank you for the recognition for the Joy-Nostalg Foundation team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, JNF, for all that you do for our group and for our beneficiaries. Thank you very much.